So,
Everything okay? One final?
we're going. Four, please.
Well, aren't we?
All right. While we're at it, this will be Mrs. Stoeckley, Helena Stoeckley, and Ted Gunderson, and Prince Beasley. All right, as you wish. Go right ahead, Ted.
Helena, these murders, the McDonald murders, occurred the early morning hours of February 18th, 1970. Since that time, a number of people have said that you talked to them and advised. In some instances, you were there. Others said that you said you were there, but you're not sure. In other instances, you advised you were not there. And then in October and December of 1980, you gave Mr. Beasley and me a statement wherein you advised that you were definitely there. Now, since then, last summer, as recent as last summer, the FBI contacted you and you said you don't recall being there. Can you tell us why you've changed your mind through these last 12 years so many times?
Yes, sir. Because at the time of the murders, I was involved with the satanic cult. Since then, I've been contacted. I'm now pregnant. Anyone who knows anything about witchcraft knows the firstborn child can be sacrificed and will be. I've been threatened. Threats have been made on me, my family, and everyone else.
So you've changed your story, or your story
I haven't changed my story. I'm only dropping names.
It's varied. It's varied over the last 12 years because you're in fear of your life, and most recently because of your forthcoming new child.
If you check it, I don't think the story has vacillated that much.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I am not involving people's names right now does.
And why are you not involving people's names?
Because the people that were with me that night were members of the cult, and I have been contacted since that time.
And what did they say to you?
They've reminded me of certain rituals and things like that with the cult.
What did they say specifically they would do to you if you divulged their names or furnished any more details than you've already furnished?
Specifically, nothing.
Didn't you tell us today that they threatened to slit your stomach and take your first
They said
child?
they could do that, but there's several different methods of taking care of the firstborn child.
Have they told you this?
Yes, sir.
Is this one of the reasons why you're very concerned at this time?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to tell us what happened that night? Let's start with, before we talk about that night, let's start with when it was originally planned, or when did the cult become actually involved in that they decided they would go after the McDonald family?
Dr. Jeffrey McDonald was discussed as early as October of 1969. He was not cooperative in helping heroin addicts. He was more interested in working with people on hallucinogenics and things like that. He just wouldn't cooperate with us at all.
Meaning the cult?
No, with heroin addicts, and most of the people involved with the cult were on opiates of some sort. And so as early as October, as I recall, he was discussed. About 10 or 10:30, more towards 11 o'clock that night, he was discussed because he had given someone some, well, they had tried to get some help, and he refused it and tried to turn them over to the authorities on the base.
You're talking about the night before the murders, which would have
Yes.
been the February the 17th.
Right. When he did that, it was suggested that someone approach him and try to make him realize, you know, that he had to help us or something like that.
How could he help you?
Changing his ways, really.
So you went into the house in order to convince him that he should change his ways and his attitude toward the drug addicts in that area, the area of Fayetteville and Fort Bragg, etc.?
The night of the murders, there was no discussion of murder at all.
Was there discussion of murder in October of 1969?
Only if he didn't cooperate.
Did they go in with the idea of murdering the family?
Not the night of the murders, no.
But they did discuss it in 1969, October.
No, not murdering.
Well, now, you told Mr. Beasley and me previously that they had planned to go in and murder the family.
They said if he didn't cooperate, something would be done.
Meaning,
It was understood what would be done.
which was?
Well, it was understood also that Colette was pregnant. Something could be done to her unborn child. Something could be done to her other children. And as far as that was concerned, I don't know anything about that.
What is something could be done? What does that mean?
Well, as far as I knew, all they discussed was going in and the term roughing him up was used. And that's it.
As far as the cult ritual is concerned, you've also advised Mr. Beasley and me that this particular cult did believe in animal and human sacrifice. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Had this cult been involved in other murders?
They had been, yes.
Before the McDonald murders?
Yes, sir.
Subsequent to the McDonald murders?
Very prior to it, yes.
Immediately prior to the McDonald murders?
Yes, sir.
And how many members are in the cult?
In the immediate cult, as far as the closed meetings and things like that, there was 13.
And what you say immediate, how about, are there some other people who are also involved in the cult?
We had open meetings sometimes where there was sometimes as many as 22 to 27 members.
And what's the difference between an open and closed cult meeting?
And you had to be initiated. You had to be involved with the cult activities, know what was going on, and as I said, really be involved with it.
To be in the closed meeting?
Yes, sir.
And what was the difference between the person who was allowed in the closed meeting versus the one who was not allowed in the closed meeting?
There were certain rituals and also things that were not discussed in open meetings that were discussed in closed meetings.
Will you tell us what was discussed in the closed meetings?
No, sir, I can't go into that.
Why won't you go into that?
For fear of my own self and my unborn child and my family.
You told Mr. Beasley and me also in 1980 that one of the high priorities in human sacrifice was a pregnant woman for this group. Is that true?
Yes, sir. The firstborn child is very eminent in any type of case like
When
that.
you say eminent, what do you mean?
It's considered, well, it's the top of the list.
You mean for death or for property?
Anything.
Anything they want to do with the child?
Yes, sir.
This concerns you at this time.
Yes, sir.
Would you, going back again to 1969, did you know that Colette was pregnant at that time?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did they discuss this in the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Did they discuss the other children, the possible murder of the other children?
No. The night of the murders, I was not aware there was other children in the house.
How long were you involved in the cults? When did you first become, say, interested, and when were you first admitted?
Approximately sometime in the spring of 1969.
It's when you became interested?
Yes, sir.
And
But I was not initiated at that time.
you were in the open meetings at that time?
Yes, sir.
When were you taken into the closed meetings? In other words, when were you one of the 13, considered one of the 13?
In May of 1969.
In May of '69?
Yes, sir.
So during the planning of the McDonald murders and subsequent to that, after the murders, and during the murders themselves, you were actually a member of this cult of 13 people?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Will you name the people who were also in that cult with
No,
you?
sir.
And why won't you do that?
I can't do it. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Did they plan the murders in 69, October 69? They say.
No, sir. The
Will you
murders
tell us
weren't
about that
planned.
first meeting when it was first discussed? Was it a closed group or was it a closed and open group?
It was an open group the first time, and the only fact that was discussed was that Captain McDonald would not help heroin addicts or anyone else on opiates. At that time, they were requiring people on the base to roll their sleeves up quarter length, 3/4 lengths, and if they had tracks or something like that, needle marks on their arms, that they would be arrested or put into the hospital or something like that. And McDonald, it seems, was named as one of the instigators of that.
Why didn't you go after the others who instigated it, or did you?
He was the main person.
He was the main person? Had you planned to go after the others?
No.
Camera roll 2, sound roll 1. Go after the others and we'll pick it up from there, Ted.
You want me to repeat that?
No, she'd already answered that. Go ahead, Ted.
So, had you planned to go after the others?
There were no plans to go after anyone. We simply wanted to accost him and see what was going on.
And how did you feel that this would accomplish anything?
With the number of people involved and what was going on at the time, we thought we could accomplish that simply by verbal.
Did you think that he would change his manners and his attitude?
We thought he would, yes.
Mm-hmm. I understand you've told us, of course, that you have been involved in drugs, and you were at that time. When did you first become involved in drugs yourself?
When I was 15.
And how old were you when the murders occurred?
About 4 months before my 17th birthday.
And you were also an informant for certain members of the Fayetteville, North Carolina Police Department.
For the interagency drug.
Mm-hmm. And who worked you as an informant?
I worked for Lieutenant Rudy Studer, Captain Fred Truitt, Sheriff's Deputy John DeCarter, and P.E. Beasley.
And Mr. Beasley is with us here.
Most specifically for P.E. Beasley.
Right, Mr. Beasley's with us today, and he was working with you at that time. Is that right, at the time
Yes,
of the
sir.
McDonald murders? Did the fact that you were involved in drugs have any influence in your joining this cult?
Personally, I would say yes. That's the reason I did become involved.
Did you personally believe in the philosophies of this cult?
No. At the time, and still at this time, I'm a practicing Roman Catholic. But I wanted to get involved in white witchcraft for benevolent purposes. And this simply turned into something else.
What's the difference between white witchcraft and black witchcraft?
The fact that white witchcraft is for benevolent purposes. Black
And
witchcraft is for curses and things such as that.
what is black witchcraft worship?
It's simply devil worshiping. That's it.
Are you saying that you became involved in the black witchcraft because of the drugs, in order to obtain drugs for your habit? Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yes.
Mm-hmm. How about the other members?
I couldn't speak for them, but I would say for the same purpose.
Were the members of your cult all involved in drugs?
Yes, they were.
Do they worship drugs?
They didn't worship drugs.
Why are all the members drug addicts, if they were?
I couldn't say.
Were they involved in trafficking drugs?
Yes,
Every one of them?
definitely.
Why did every one of them traffic drugs?
To support their habits and to obtain certain favors in the community and things like that.
What do you mean by favors?
From the police department, from people on the base at Fort Bragg.
As a drug addict, how could you obtain favors? What kind of favors would you obtain?
Well, if you set one person up to get busted, you get off yourself.
So it was kind of a detraction away from your activities.
Yes, sir.
And did it work?
In my case, yes.
So what you're saying is you were able to traffic drugs by one of the means by which was to direct the police attention to another individual or another operation?
To divert their attention, yes, at the time.
Mm-hmm. The night of the murders, how many members of your cult actually were involved in the murders?
I'd prefer not to go into the cult.
I know, but how many members were with you that night that you went into the McDonald house?
5 in one car, and I'm not sure how many showed up after that.
Were they all high on drugs?
Yes, sir.
And the night of the murders, you mentioned to Mr. Beasley and to me that there were 7 of you altogether. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Would you name them?
No, sir.
Why won't you name them?
I've already stated I'm under personal threat and everything like that.
Are you concerned about your personal safety
Mine, my family's.
merely by the fact that you may be on television?
No, sir, I've already been contacted.
By whom?
Members of the cult.
They said it was all right to go on television?
No, sir. They've told me to keep my mouth shut.
That's what I'm saying. Aren't you concerned about being on television then?
No, sir, I feel that Captain Jeffrey McDonald should be freed once and for all and not to have to go through all of what he's been going through for the last several years.
So your motivation, as far as Mr. Beasley and I are concerned, in coming to us, actually we went to you, but you did furnish us statements. Your motivation then is out of conscience for Dr. McDonald, concern for your personal safety, the safety of your child.
Yes, sir. That and the fact that I have not been coerced. I haven't been promised anything, except for the fact that I was promised relocation and change of name and all that kind of thing, which I don't want.
You're talking about promises from us. You have not
Yes.
been promised anything by us.
Right. No monetary promises, nothing like that.
In other words, what you're saying is,
It's basically just a conscience thing.
it's a conscious thing, but as far as the reason you've given Mr. Beasley and me these statements is because we've not made false promises to you. Is that what you're saying?
So far, no.
Have other people made false promises to you?
Yes.
Who?
Numerous people.
Well-
Numerous agencies.
Would you name the agencies?
The CID, the police department, the prosecution against McDonald, just various different people.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's promised immunity at least 5 or 6 times, and I haven't gotten it.
And you still don't have immunity.
No, sir.
Then where will you go from here? How about your future life?
I feel I can handle my own future, as long as, if I feel that Dr. McDonald can be freed, as he should be, then as far as I myself go, I think I can handle myself.
Is it not true that another one of your concerns is the possibility that you could also be prosecuted and go to jail?
It's not basically a concern. Legally, I don't think I could.
Why
So
do you,
that's not really a big problem right now.
why do you say you do not believe you could legally?
Well, I've checked into the allegations that were made against me, state and federal, I don't think hold up anymore.
Are you talking about the statute of limitations?
Yes, sir.
Now, as you recall, Helena, most recently, Mr. Beasley and I have talked to you and we are going to attempt to talk to top federal and state officials in hopes of obtaining immunity for you, with the understanding from you that you, in turn, will furnish us not only more details or other details that you may be withholding, but also the names of the people involved and the members of your cult and other information. Is that true?
Yes, sir, that's true.
Didn't somebody else possibly offer you this possibility?
The FBI has asked me for names, but I feel anyone else who has talked to me has been trying to coerce me into something.
Going back to the murders themselves, you told us yesterday that the cult considered going in, I think, 3 nights before. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And why did they decide not to go into the McDonald house 3 nights before?
Three nights before, we had a meeting, and anyone who was in the meeting at that time felt that it would not be necessary. They thought that we could go in and contact him and verbally try to...
All right, Ted.
You ready?
Yeah.
Helena, where did the group meet immediately prior to going to the McDonald house the night of the murders?
Early in the evening, we met at Rowan Street Park, and then at 1108 Clark Street.
What time did you meet at 1108 Clark Street?
Approximately 11:30.
And how many were in that group?
At the time, it was a closed meeting. There was 13 people present.
Okay. And how many proceeded to the McDonald residence?
Only 5 in one car.
Were there 2 cars?
Yes, sir.
And whose car was that? The 5?
I can't get into names.
How about the other car? Can you tell us who that car belonged
No,
to?
sir.
But all these people were members of the cult.
Yes, sir.
Did you proceed directly to the McDonald residence, or did you stop along the way?
We didn't stop until afterwards.
So you went directly to the McDonald residence.
Yes, sir.
Then you must have had a fairly
Not
long...
directly there. We turned around and things like that.
Then you had a fairly long diversionary period, because what time did you enter the McDonald residence?
Approximately 2 o'clock.
About 2
in the
o'clock.
morning.
Where did you park the car that you were in?
I wasn't driving.
Where did the person driving park the car? How far away?
About 1/8 of a mile up the road.
And how did you get to the McDonald's house? Where did you walk?
We walked down there
Did you walk down the sidewalk or in the back
on the sidewalk and then around the back.
of the residence of the McDonald
sir.
house? Mm-hmm. And what door did you enter?
I entered the one in the center of the building.
How about the others?
I'm not sure. I was using mescaline at that time,
Had you taken some mescaline that night?
at 12 o'clock exactly.
And how do you know at 12 o'clock exactly?
In Fayetteville at that time, a song was played at 12 o'clock every night when the news came on.
And were you
And
listening
I
to radio?
heard yes, sir. I was out there standing by the car when it came on.
Okay. And how many went in with you at the back door?
Myself and one person went in that door. We had trouble with the lock.
And what happened to the others?
They were already going in the other door.
And then when you entered the house, what room did you enter into?
What it looked like to me was a laundry room of some sort, a utility room or something like that.
Would you tell us what happened from the time you entered the house? Your steps across that room and into the next room, or whatever action you took?
When I went into the room, several other people were in there talking to Mr. McDonald, Dr. McDonald.
Was he in the laundry room?
No, he was laying on the couch.
And did the laundry room join the living room? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not specifically sure of the layout. I know it adjoined to the living room, but through the kitchen.
Okay.
And we went through there. And when I went in, they were already talking to him.
How many?
As far as I know at that time, there was 3 in there talking to him.
You were the 4th.
Yes. And he was, to me, he appeared to be asleep. But what was trying to be discussed was the fact that either he would lay off hassling the people about the narcotics, and then one member who was, I guess, a little bit higher than the rest of us, he decided if he would give him some drugs or a prescription or something like that, we would let it rest at that, and he was arguing that.
Was Dr. McDonald laying on the couch or standing up? Or
He was laying down.
laying down? How were you dressed?
I was wearing, I had a floppy hat that I used to wear all the time. I had on boots that night, and before we left, before I dropped the mescaline, I was already smoking marijuana and everything. And as a joke, I put on the blonde wig that belonged to my roommate. I was wearing a black vest, and it was a combination of pants and skirt.
Did you carry anything?
I had a candle in my pocket.
Did you light the candle?
When I went in, yes.
Mm-hmm. So when you approached Dr. McDonald, you had a lit candle in your hand?
I had the lit candle because we had trouble getting in the door.
Was this part of the, was this a ceremony, by the way?
It wasn't at his house. The candles were used all the time.
The incident that night at Dr. McDonald's house was not a ceremony?
It didn't start out that way.
It ended
It
up
was
that way.
discussed previously that if I went in, my part in the whole thing would be initiation.
It was your initiation into the group?
Yes, sir.
To prove yourself?
To prove that I was a reliable member of the cult.
What happened at the couch then as you approached the couch?
When I went over there, McDonald was struggling with another member because by that time they had already argued about the drugs. And I said something about leaving him alone or something like that. And they were still arguing about giving him some speed or something like that.
About giving Dr. McDonald some
No,
speed?
about getting some speed from him. The member of the cult wanted some speed.
There were 3 members of the cult arguing with him?
There was only one that was asking for it, but there was 2 others standing there.
Did they have any weapons?
No, they were using their fists then.
But what happened after that?
He started arguing, and he said he would go to the phone and call someone. He tried to get to the phone.
Did they allow him up from the couch?
Pardon?
Did they allow him to get up from the couch?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He tried to get to the phone, and when he went over there, we thought that he was trying to do that. But the men that were involved were Army personnel, and they realized he was calling the MPs, and that's when the fighting ensued.
And they fought in the living room near the phone?
They told him to get back in the living room and went back to the couch. He sat down, but he was knocked unconscious.
How was he knocked unconscious?
One of the members did it.
With what?
His fist.
Was there a club used?
Not at that time.
Did you see him knocked unconscious?
Yes, sir.
What happened to him? Did he fall off the couch or fall on the couch?
He was on the couch.
And he was laying on the couch?
Yes, sir.
And then what happened after that?
Other members started going through the house, and that's when I first discovered there were children in there.
Where
That's
were
when-
you at this time?
I was standing there trying to tell them to leave him alone and things like that, and they called me a goody-goody two-shoes or something like that. And someone suggested, one person suggested we leave at that time, and I agreed. And that was vetoed right away. And the last time I went in the bedroom, one member was in there already beating up Colette.
Well, the last time, how about the first time? Did you walk from the living room back into the back of the house? While Dr.
I walked into the master bedroom.
While Dr. McDonald was unconscious?
Yes.
What did you see when you walked in?
Colette was sleeping on the bed.
Were there other members of the cult there at that time?
2, yes.
She was not awake at that point?
No.
Was there anybody else in that room?
No, sir.
Was a child in that room?
There was one sleeping with her at the time.
On the same bed?
Yes, sir.
And then what happened? Did they wake her up or did she wake up on her own?
The child?
Colette, the wife.
Colette woke up because they started beating on her. And I think that's when they were going to get the blood from her.
They were going to get the blood from her?
Well, they knew she was pregnant, which was something I didn't know when we first went in.
And?
Well, they were going to take blood from her, and then she woke up and started screaming something like, "Why are you letting them do this to me?" Something like that.
Meaning calling for Dr. McDonald?
Yes. But I never heard her say, "Jeffrey, why are you letting them do this to me?"
Why were they going to take this blood from her?
As a ritual.
Were they going to take it from the house then?
Yes.
How were they going to carry it from the house?
One member had a vial.
Were they going to take this blood from her arm, her neck, or where?
From wherever she bled. It didn't matter.
Did you see any weapons?
At that time, yes.
What did you see?
One had a piece of wood. I don't know what size, but that's what he was beating her with.
What was Colette doing?
She was just struggling, saying, "Why are you letting them do this to me?"
Was she still on the bed, or did you attempt to get up from the bed?
She tried to, but she couldn't.
And then what did you see next?
4-1. 4-1.
Why?
We're rolling.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Helena, tell us what happened from the time you entered the house that night.
I entered the house with another member of the cult. We had to struggle with the door, which is the reason I lit the candle to begin with. We went in. There were 3 members in there already talking to Dr. McDonald.
I thought they were simply asking for drugs.
Or something like that. As it turns out, it turned into violence. I said, "Leave him alone." And they asked him to go to the telephone to call someone and see if he could get a prescription or to get the drugs themselves. He said he would. He tried to, and we realized he was calling the MPs. That's when they forced him back to the couch. Someone knocked him unconscious. After that, I went into the back bedroom. That's when I saw 2 other members in there. Colette was struggling with them. There was a child laying on the bed next to her that I presumed was asleep. She had already been beaten several times and was calling out to her husband to help her. I presume he was still unconscious or something like that. But she was bleeding profusely by that time. It was all over the bed. It was on the child. So I don't know if the child was dead or not. I said, "Let's leave her alone," that this was unnecessary, and someone called me a do-gooder or something. I'd already been called a goody-goody two-shoes in the front living room. And I left the room. I went hobby horse. I went hobby horse, like a rocking horse. I backed up against it, and the spring was broken. So I moved away from it. In the room, there was child's toys. There were children's books, things like that. I don't know whose bedroom it was, but there was another child in there asleep. There was no blood in there or anything at that time. I went back out front, and by that time, Dr. McDonald had regained consciousness, and someone was in there beating him. I know who it was, but like I said, I'm not going to give names or anything because of my own safety and the safety of my family and the threat of personal danger.
Where did you go after you went into the living room?
All right, at that time, the phone rang. Everyone was standing around and said who should answer it, and I was designated as the person to go answer the phone. I picked it up, and someone asked for Dr. McDonald. Well, by that time, I was pretty high on mescaline, and I just giggled and said he wasn't there or something like that, and they accepted that, and that was it. So I hung up the phone. Then I went back into the bedroom again, and this one person, by that time, for some reason, the one child had been moved to the other bedroom that was laying with Colette at the time. When I went back, Colette appeared to be either asleep or unconscious, and I suggested we leave, and that was it.
Where was Colette?
She was still in the bed.
In the bed?
Mm-hmm.
And did you see the other child?
The child had been moved, but I never saw it moved.
Tell us about when you left the house.
Well, previously, when we entered the house, there was a dog in the yard. And I was raised in an army environment around guard dogs and things like that. It was a German Shepherd. And I told them to be quiet when we went in, because I went over there and I tried to pet the dog, and it didn't try to bite or anything. Going out, I told them again to be quiet. So when we went out, I still had the candle in my hand.
Lit?
Yes, I was holding that the whole time. Still lit. We left the house, and I went around to get into one car, and that's when I realized the other person had pulled up with his car. So we departed in two different cars. The car I got into, we went down the street and came back down to make sure that no one was left behind. If they were, to pick them up. When we were assured that there was no one left there, we made a U-turn, went back down the street, past the Fort Bragg Information Center, and left.
Tell us about the German Shepherd. Can you describe the German Shepherd?
As far as I could see, it was beige or white. It was tied up on something like a runner chain or something like that. And he didn't bark. That's why I was telling everyone to be quiet.
He didn't bark when you left?
No.
How old was he?
Oh, I would say approximately 1.5 to 2 years old.
Did everybody get out of the house then at the same time?
I'm not sure. I didn't check. I just wanted to get out.
Where did you park the car? How many buildings down from the McDonald residence did you park the getaway car?
One car was parked on the road. The other one was parked in a parking lot. They had parking lots with about 5 spaces each to them, and we were in one of them.
How many buildings removed from the McDonald residence?
2 down the road.
Were you right in front of the second one, or?
No, the parking spaces were inner space-like.
Were there just two vehicles used to escape the area?
As far as I know, yes.
Was there a third vehicle in that area?
If there was, I'm not sure of it.
And what vehicle did you enter? Can you tell us that?
I got back into a blue Mustang.
And would you tell us who that car belonged to?
No, sir.
And then
When you left, where did you go?
We stopped at Dunkin' Donuts and picked up several other people there who were not involved in the murders. I went inside to the restroom, washed my hands, and came back out, and we left.
did you have blood on you?
I don't know.
And where did you go from there?
Back to 1108 Clark Street,
Which is,
my residence
Your
at that
residence.
time. Yes.
who were you living with at the time?
I was living with two other females, Kathy Smith and Diane. Right now, her married name is Cesaris.
What time did you arrive back at your house?
About 4:30, 5 o'clock,
How did you get there?
in the blue Mustang.
Did somebody drop you off?
The blue Mustang pulled in. We were listening to the radio. And I took the box of donuts out and walked in the house. And my two roommates were in there painting on the wall.
Was there conversation with them?
Simply the comment that one turned to me and said, "Helena, why'd you do it?" And I responded, "He deserved to die."
What
At
happened?
that time, we hadn't heard any news bulletins or anything.
What happened to the group after the murders?
Well, most people in the group decided it was in our best interest to disband temporarily.
And you did?
Some of us went to other states. Others feigned
How about the day after?
innocence and everything.
The day after the murder? Were you stopped?
In
Very
question?
early the next morning,
You-
Detective Beasley stopped me and several other people in the band.
In the cult that were involved in the murder?
Yes, sir.
And what happened then?
At the time, I was an informant for Mr. Beasley. And he started to get out of the car, and the people in the car had weapons and such. And when he asked to talk to me, they started to approach him as if to assault him in some way. And I turned around to them and said, "It's all right. I can talk to him for a minute." And they got back in the car.
How long did Mr. Beasley detain you?
About 20 minutes at that time.
I think he said it was more like an hour and 15 minutes. Would it have been that long?
At first, it was only about 20 minutes because I had to take care of them and settle things with them.
Prince, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, I would.
Reload.
Yeah, what happened?
Look right at tape, please. Okay, Tim.
Prince, did you stop this group that night, and would you tell us what happened?
Yes, I did. About 2:30 on the morning of the 18th, I noticed this car pull into the driveway at 1108 Clark Street. I saw Helena in the car with a group of males. I believe there was another female in there, I'm not sure. I blocked the driveway with my car. I called Helena to come to me. And as she came towards me, the others started. She turned around and told them to go back, that she would talk to me. I detained Helena there for more than an hour after I had called CID to come out and interview these people.
Did CID ever come out?
CID never did come out, and we had been advised by our superiors not to ask these people any questions because it was not in our jurisdiction.
Helena, going back to the trial, you've given Mr. Beasley and me a voluminous amount of information about the murders and so forth. Why didn't you furnish this information during the trial?
At the time of the trial, I really felt that Dr. McDonald would go to prison and I had nothing to worry about, because the CID had told me that he was going to prison and that was it. And they were so assured of that fact that I felt I had nothing to worry about.
But if you'd come forth with this information, he may not have gone to prison?
And at that point, I could have gone myself.
So you basically were trying to keep yourself from going to prison?
Yes, sir.
Since then, you've had a change of conscience?
Since then, I've seen the style that Dr. McDonald's had to live, the pain he's gone through with his family, his father and mother-in-law, and that sort of thing. And I don't feel that's right.
Are you concerned about going to prison now?
No, sir, not at this time.
Why?
Right now, I just feel that the statute of limitations has run out. I've tried to come forward before, and every time I have, I've been made to look like some idiot, some incompetent fool that doesn't know what's going on, that was so high on drugs. It's been proven otherwise, because I have been under hypnosis. I've had aptitude tests run and all this kind of thing. And I feel now that Dr. McDonald should be free and able to live his life without the fear of ever going back to prison again.
You admit you're high on drugs, yet you have a remarkable memory for the details that night. Can you explain this?
No, sir. When I went under hypnosis, the doctor that administered the hypnosis said that I had a mental block at 1:30. And he said that he felt that was self-blocking.
Deliberately, in other words?
Yes, because I knew what was going on.
But you've had remarkable memory tonight, and also in your past statements to Mr. Beasley and me.
Only after I knew the statute of limitations was up.
How about the FBI? Has the FBI talked to you, and why haven't you furnished this information to the FBI?
Because they all feel that I was high on drugs. They agree with the judge at the trial in 1979 that I was so high at the time, and at this time that I'm still so, that my mind is so disoriented by drugs that I don't know what's going on.
Did they ask you for these details? Have they ever asked you for these details?
No, they're more concerned with putting Dr. McDonald in prison. They feel that's where he belongs.
Of course, he's already there.
Yes, sir.
How about going back to the night of the murders? As you recall, you said that you were chanting that night?
I used LSD a lot. At the time, acid was the name for LSD. I chanted, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs, hit him again," or something like that.
Do you remember doing this?
I remember chanting it, but I did not write it on the headboard. Someone else wrote it down there.
What was written on the headboard? Did you see this?
When I went in, I saw something similar to what I had said. When he was on the couch the second time, when he was being beaten again, I said, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs, hit him again."
Can you remember anything in the house itself that could prove that you were there beyond any doubt at all? The placement of furniture, the location of, say, the jewelry box?
I know where the jewelry box was located because I went in there several days before, approximately 3 weeks before.
Why were you in there 3 weeks before?
For the purpose of larceny to obtain money for drugs.
No one was home?
Not at that time, no.
So you went to the jewelry box at that time?
Yes, sir. And then the night of the murders, when I went in, as far as objects in the room at that time, when I went in, there was a flower pot there, which was knocked over. The television set was on, but off the air. There were reading glasses there. There were Valentine cards. There was a book turned over as if he was reading it before we went in, Dr. McDonald. That's about the most.
And you knew where the location of the jewelry box, where was the jewelry box located?
It was in the master bedroom,
And where in the master bedroom?
on the high dresser.
You told us on the low dresser.
No, there was one dresser that was just a chest of drawers. But as far as the dressers go, there was one nightstand too. So if you want to be particular, it was the low dresser.
A big issue in the case is the fact that you said that the hobby horse was broken. The prosecution claims that you saw a picture in the newspaper several days after, and therefore you knew it from looking at the newspaper. But actually, the only people who knew that were the McDonalds themselves. Did you see this picture in the newspaper?
I never knew anything about the hobby horse again until 1979.
No, you did. You knew that night that the spring was
The
broken.
night of the murders, yes, but it was never mentioned again until 1979 at the trial in Raleigh.
Did you see the picture in the newspaper?
I never saw any pictures. You have to realize I was strung out on heroin, and that can be proven anywhere. Vanderbilt University, I instigated the methadone program there with Dr. Richard Treadway. It can all be proven that I was definitely on at least $200 a day of heroin.
But you did not ever see that picture.
How many junkies go around reading
Newspapers.
Newsweek and
Okay.
things like that?
CID gave you a polygraph examination about this. What was the result of that polygraph examination?
I wasn't told at the time, but later on I found out that I was told, well, I was told to keep my mouth shut,
By
first
whom?
of all, by who administered it.
Was that a CID agent?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Byzantine. It said I was in the house the night of the murders, that I did not participate, and that I knew who did commit the murders.
So in other words, CID, what year was this?
This was as early as 1971.
So CID gave you a polygraph examination. These are the results of the polygraph examination.
The first polygraph was set up. I was busted on narcotics in Nashville, Tennessee. And they told me if I would agree to take the polygraph, because I had been avoiding the police and everything else, which is contrary to everyone saying I was after publicity and attention and everything else. They told me at that time if I would take the polygraph that they would drop the mescaline charge. I had $25,000 worth of mescaline, so I would have been a fool to deny that.
And what about that polygraph examination? Same thing?
That was the first one that was
That was
given.
the one where they said that based on their examination, it showed that you were there?
Yes, sir.
And that you were telling the truth?
Yes, sir.
Why, do you have any idea why CID did not act on that, or has directed their investigation toward Dr. McDonald?
There were several members of the CID then trafficking drugs themselves, and I can't say for sure.
Did the CID infiltrate your cult? In other words, was a CID undercover agent involved in the murders?
We were thinking there was one member in the immediate cult who could have been an informant for the CID.
Do you know, or you just thought and suspected that?
It was being checked out then, and after all this happened, I don't know.
Can I break in?
Yeah.
If you were called today, would you testify fully and truthfully as you have tonight? Right.
Reload, please.
I would just want two more questions and we've got everything ready.
God, it's hot in here.
Answer those two.
Jeez.
Hey,
I would like.
All right.
All right, what are we, roll 6, huh?
Roll 6.
You're gonna charge Ted and...
You ready to go?
We're rolling.
We'll have to wait till she straightens up here.
I can't now when you said you were going to... All right. Okay.
Have you ever discussed the possibility of immunity with anyone else?
I discussed it with the FBI, the CID, an agent that was working in Washington at the time, who was previously with the CID, local police, federal authorities, everyone. It was promised twice, never given, and asked for at least 6 or 7 times.
How about the night you took that polygraph examination?
I was promised it then.
Was that one of the times that you were promised?
When I realized I wouldn't be given it, I left the police station.
If you were called to testify today, would you testify fully and truthfully as you have here tonight?
Only if I were granted immunity and not promised falsely like I have been.
Are you also asking for protection?
Definitely.
For fear of your life and the life of your child to be?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And if you testified under those conditions, would you furnish names and details totally?
Yes, sir, I would.
Now, the judge in the trial in 1979 said that you are one of the most tragic figures he's ever seen, simply cannot attach any credibility to you, and you are in a constant state of hallucination. How do you feel about that?
Well, at first I was insulted, and after that, after the trial, I took numerous tests, and it was proven that I had an above-average intelligence, that I definitely knew what was going on, things like that. I have not used drugs in over 3 years, and I was really ready to take out a slander suit against the judge, but I realized it was just his. Because I think because of what he had been told about the drugs I was using at the time and up to that point.
Now, you actually did testify, but without the jury present. Is that true?
No, the jury was in there, but they were asked later to forget anything that was said, to strike it off the record.
What did you say when you testified, very briefly?
I simply gave yes and no answers.
Did you divulge any of the information you've given us here tonight?
Not names, but I tried to identify pictures and things like that, and apparently the credibility wasn't good enough for him.
So you actually said that you admitted on the stand that you were in the house that night then?
No, sir.
You didn't?
No, I perjured myself then.
In what way?
Well, I had 3 prosecution people standing up there yelling at me. And every time that the defense lawyer, Bernard Siegel, got up and talked to me, it was like the judge just laughed him down or something like that. So I was really afraid to say anything at that time.
Were you also afraid because of the possibility of harm to yourself?
At that time, yes, because I thought there were certain people in the courtroom. It was a public hearing. People were coming in that I knew were in town at that time.
Members of the cult?
At one time I thought I saw 2 of them, and later on I was accosted by one. My nose was broken.
You were accosted
and that
during?
was subsequently they tried to blame that on my now husband,
You were
then
accosted,
fiance.
you were accosted during the trial by a member of the cult?
Yes, sir, who told me to keep my mouth shut.
Okay, you want to cut it? The reason I wanted to get that last question in about the judge and your brain power and the rest, it's obvious tonight that you're as intelligent as an expert.
I've taken hypnotism down there at Clemson University. Dr. what was his name, Bieber?
Rex Bieber.
In California proved that. I've taken tests, and I mean,
She took a
I'm sure my
polygraph under
IQ
us.
is fine.
Established
And I
she was
don't
telling
use
the truth.
drugs or alcohol abusively or anything, so.
I just wanted to know how a person like yourself, who comes from a fairly substantial family, right? Your father was a lieutenant colonel, and I suppose it could be as simple as falling in with a crowd that went in for this stuff.
At that time, it was peer pressure and that. I was working as a candy striper at the hospital. And,
What does that mean?
well, I had access to needles, syringes, and things like that. At that time, I wanted to become an MD. And the doctors in my neighborhood, because my parents do live in a very influential neighborhood, they were trying to help me get to medical school. I was taking Latin. You know, I can, right now at this time, I can speak French, Spanish, German, and transcribe Latin, because at that time Latin was required for medical school. But they were trying to help me. And so at 13, I was allowed to go into the emergency room where most candy strippers aren't allowed. You know, you take water jugs and stuff like that, flowers. But they taught me how to autoclave things, how to make suture packs, things like that. And I just had access to that, but then I had to get a paying job. And I walked in the village shop one day and had a pocket full of syringes. And one member of the community, I reached in my pocket to pay for a Coke, and, you know, I had a syringe in my hand. After that, they knew I had access, and that's what really started the whole thing with drugs.
You realize, of course, if you went into court, that the questioning would be a million times tougher than it was tonight, even though Mr. Gunderson, I think, asked you...
I realize that.
You know, they would try to rip you to shreds, right?
I realize that.
And you think you could withstand that?
I think, well, this baby is due any day now. And I think once the pregnancy's over, I'm a pretty tough person. I lived on the street for 10 years, and I can do it. New York, Daytona, you name it, I think I've done it. I mean, withholding prostitution or anything like that, you know, but I have done. I mean, I think I've come off with some pretty good rip-offs and things like that, so I'm not afraid of what they could ask me.
What they
And
would
I wouldn't
say.
withhold anything if I'm granted immunity. Only if I'm granted immunity.
Now, that likelihood is pretty slim, as I think Ted would
Yeah,
have told you.
as we've shown that before.
And of course, the prosecution would say this is a figment of your imagination.
Yes, I'm a fabricator. Let's see, what else? Fabricator, liar, publicity seeker. And what have I been doing? I've been trying to run to keep away from publicity. And still they say that's all I want. Isn't that what I've been doing? I've been trying to stay away from anyone who wants to know anything about the case. Except for in Nashville, when I talked to the police officers there. I was strung out on heroin, and I was very sick with hepatitis, which can be proven through Vanderbilt University Hospital. And at that time, I was talking really sort of semi-comatose at that time. And that's when Jim Gaddis and them heard about it.
You haven't had any personal encounters or meetings with Dr. McDonald since that night, have you?
No,
No letters or anything?
no. Because I thought it would be to my best advantage just not to do anything.
Thanks a lot for sitting through this tremendous heat and answering all these questions.
Okay.
I didn't think you could smile.
I can. I can tell some good jokes too, but I don't think you want to hear them at this time.
Well, I hope you had a nice baby and that everything goes well.
Thank you.
Okay, fine.
MOS.
Up to now.
MOS.
Okay.